Morning guys, so I'm going to carry on polishing this up at the moment, and then I'll obviously carry on doing some other stuff after that. So yeah, it's kind of where I'm at the moment. I'm not going to waffle too much this morning. I've seen to done that in quite a bit in the last video. So yeah, I'll just carry on with this, and then once I get that sorted out, carry on with something else. I've been hunting online to try and see if I can find something to fit around this. I think I'm going to have to go into town and go to some of the rubber type places and see if I can come up with something. I'll just grab one of those old bits. So I need to find a gasket that is, if you can see, that shape. And it's not very big. So it is, it's about half an inch tall. Half an inch? Yeah, thereabouts, half an inch-ish tall. And it's a bit over that, yeah. Go to the other end. The frickin' increments are smaller, at least. Yeah, it's a little bit over half an inch, like 5/8, if you know what I mean. So somewhere in between there, 9/16, somewhere in that ballpark. Same width-wise. So yeah, it's about, we'll say somewhere between half an inch to 5/8 an inch deep, because I don't really know, because there's bits missing. Fits on there like that. It sticks out, but it's got to be pretty thin to fit into the cowl, if you know what I mean, because this is hard up against the next piece, so it's sort of only got that little lip and just a tiny bit that pokes down over that edge like that to seal, and that obviously sits over top of the top pieces, so it's got to be pretty much like that, or something very, very close that maybe I can modify. But yeah, I'm gonna have to do a lot of hunting, I think, and see what we can find. So if anybody's got any ideas, if you happen to see something, what do we need for lengthwise? So what's that? That's so it's about 10 inches long. So it's about 10 inches that way, and it's about 4 inches wide. That's the so it's about 24 inches all around. So if anybody's got anything that they can look at that may be handy and give me an idea. No, like, I don't know if any other vehicle of that era that may have a similar gasket that you can actually buy, or an extrusion of some description that you can buy to fit that. I've been looking, I haven't come across anything yet, but I haven't been into town to have a decent look. But if somebody that's been dealing with this sort of stuff and watches this before I find something, yeah, just give me an idea of what it's off, make, model, whatever, and where to buy it, if you know. So yeah, I'll keep hunting, but yeah, or maybe somewhere to get a, like a long length or something that I can, even if I have to buy freaking 3 feet or 4 feet of it, I don't care, just something to get that done. Yeah, either we'll just have to try and find something that maybe we can squeeze in there and shape up a bit or something. I don't know, we'll find something. Anyway, I'll carry on. Righty guys, so I've finished polishing that up. I haven't gone for like a full-on mirror finish, but it's pretty shiny. I got it up to 800 wet, roughly. Like, there's a lot of scratches and marks and nicks in it. And then I gave it a quick run over with the DA with that 3000 pad on it, just to give it a bit of a clean up from the 800, and then just quickly run it over the little buffing wheel on the drill. I could go really get it highly polished, but there's no point. It's on the floor. You know, it's going to get scratched and all that sort of bullshit. So I just wanted to clean it up and obviously take it away from that sort of finish. Now, I've given it a rough clean up in the back too, just run it. I just went over it with some 220 or something like that, just to clean the crap off mainly. And I took that little thing off there and I've cleaned that up, sandblasted it and painted it. So it's just hanging up there, etched at the moment, and I'm going to paint it. So at least that'll be nice and clean and not all rusty and dirty. I might give this another bit of a clean up around the back, but I don't know, you're not going to see it anyway, kinda, if you know what I mean. It's down fairly low. So yeah, I will now, I think, try and clean up that main floor piece. I think I might have a go at, see if I can get that to not that level, but a reasonable sort of clean up, if you know what I mean. Just try and give it a half a shine up, and I can just use the drill by hand, you know, to give it a bit of a buff, I guess. Once I've got the rest of the crap off it, and try and get it a half reasonable sort of finish, if you know what I mean. Half reasonable. Anyway, oh, face looks all dirty, but anyway, I'll carry on. Righty, I decided to do some videoing. So what I'm doing, I've got some fairly worn 80 grits here, just to take the worst shit off this thing. And then I will do the worst of it, or majority of it, by hand. But I do have, fortunately, I wish I had a few more of these. This is a 240, but it's really worn. I'll run over it with that as well. But I think what I'll do is I might do quite a bit by hand with some 220, and then I might run over it with that by hand, because that'll just smooth it out a little bit more than the 220 bit, because it's worn. That'll kind of half polish it, if you know what I mean, and that'll give me an idea what it's going to kind of look like. I don't think I'll go past 400 with this, just because it's on the floor, and you're virtually standing on it. I don't know what I'm going to do in between these things. I've got a wee wire wheel on here, but what I might do is actually might put one of the bigger ones on and just run it up and down in between here and just clean a bit of the crap out between the little dimples, or what do you want to call them, on this floor. A lot of it's worn down, fairly flat. But if I just run up and down between, it might just clean the worst of the shit out there. So when we do run over it with this buffing wheel on the drill, that you've seen that, in case you haven't, there, I've actually got another one over here. Yeah, so I've got one of those rag wheel type things on here. That's a yellow one, this is a white one. And to be honest, I don't really know what the difference is. I'm not one of those persons that studied that shit up. I just happen to use that one. So yeah, when I get it back to about 400, I'll put a bit of jeweler's rouge on there and just run over with that. Just to try and give it a little bit of sparkle, I guess. Oh yeah, that's pretty. That looks good. That looks really good. All there like that. Like it's pretty much a final polish up. I would like to hit that again. The back piece of that top piece I'm gonna hit again. Because it sticks through the firewall a bit. So I'm not gonna get it really shiny, but I'm gonna bring it up a bit. Because I didn't realise you could see quite so much of it, if you know what I mean. You sort of forget, like you don't see it, but you do see it when you got the sides up. So I'm not going to make it really shiny, but I think I might just bring it a little bit further than that. Clean it up a little bit further. So, yeah, but that side's, oh, that is pretty. I like it. I like it a lot. So that'd be nice. Once, you know, we get probably some black matte ing or something on the floor panels. Once we're finished there, obviously, you know, I don't know whether they'll make a little carpet, put a carpet up or something like that, or even a wee rubber mat probably might be better, like an edged rubber mat or something, or even like an all-weather carpet or something like that with a little bit of edging around it. You know, a little bit of probably the same up in the firewall part of it. You know, you could probably make something to put up there. But yeah, by the time we get all the little bits and pieces in there, the gear lever, which I haven't shined up any further than what it is, so I'm going to do that now because I'm on that polishing freak. I was just going to leave that like that, but I think I'm going to frickin' bring it to this level. Because, you know, like I've got a nice sheen on the floor now, where it doesn't look stupid compared with the rest of the floor, so it's cool. But yeah, oh, that looks good. I'm going to try and make up, it definitely needs that felt or something around that steering column, you know, with that little gasket, the thing that I'm making, that wood piece that goes in behind that when I put it all that back together. But yeah, man, that looks pretty, that looks freaking wicked. Awesome, loving it. You know, with the little bit of just, I guess, patina on it, you know, from the scratches and stuff like that, with a bit of a decent cleanup, it looks pretty damn nice. You know it's a restoration. You know, everything's not going to be perfect. You know, like, you know, we've got a little bit of damage in here and stuff like that. You know, you clean up the best you can around it, and you know, it just shows its age a little bit. You know, it's been restored. But some things you just, if it's like that, you know, you're never going to get it perfect. You know, without taking a lot of material away. You know, taking away from its originality. You know, you've cleaned it up and carried on. So awesome. That is wicked. So I will carry on and polish that up, and yeah, we'll go from there. That looks absolutely horny. Loving it. Alrighty, so you got that there polished up, so that looks good now. I'm trying to see if I can get that other freaking choke base off that other dash. I wish I had some freaking oxygen just so I could get it hotter without trying to burn the place down. I got it off, I actually hit the back of the nut with a punch a few times and it just happened to come free. Well, I also run that round the back of the thread too before I tried to undo it. So yeah, that one buffed up a bit. You know, that's quite a difference. You know, and there's more thread on the back of it too, so that's cool. So I'm just going to clean the nut and washer up in the sandblasting cabinet and give it a flick with some etch, and then I'll put a bit of just a light coat of black paint on so it's not rusty and shitty in behind there. Yeah, try and keep everything as nice as you can. So yeah, it's cool. They'll look nice in there. They may as well pop it in the oil spas, so just sit it there anyway. Oh yeah, shit hot. Yeah, sweet. That's cool. Alrighty. Oh, we'll carry on. Anybody got any bodies they want to get rid of? Got a little hole around here. Righty guys, so welcome back after lunch. Clean the face because it was absolutely black when I got home. So anyway, was mucking around with that choke housing piece that screwed into the dash. Still waiting on the nut and the washer to dry. I'll just have a quick just a light coat of black. Obviously after I sandblasted and etched it. Did that before lunch and I just flicked it before I come back. So I'm in the middle of trying to actually repair the knob, if you want to put it that way. So what I didn't realise, so this is the knob, I gave it a quick buff up, it needs a bit more, but the wire is actually soldered in because it's got like a D-shaped shaft on it. So yeah, the wire is actually soldered in here. So I'm going to try and see if I can pull it out. Hopefully the gas torch with just the settle end might be hot enough to mount the solder so I can pull this wire out, and then we can, a little bit down the track, and we've got the motor and everything in there, we can sort out a solid core, like heater type cable or something like that, that we can solder the wire back in here. So it goes all the way up to here. So I'm going to heat this up so I can pull that out. At least then we can sit this back in the hole and see what it looks like for a start off and see if I need to polish it up anymore. But it also means it's very easy to repair, which is very handy. Righty guys, so I've got the choke base part sitting in there. I was hunting for some other bits and pieces and I come across some more screws. All these ones here are metal ones, metal like steel or whatever, and these aren't very long. So I found quite a few of them, so I put them in here. I assume that's what they're for. So I got those in there. I found some slightly longer brass or bronze or whatever brick they are ones. So I swapped them out for the slightly shorter one that I had in the bottom on each one of these, whatever the bottom or the top, whatever it was for a start off. So I put some ones in there a bit longer and they catch and pull in quite nicely. And I buffed up a couple of those, more of those little stainless surrounds. So it's good. That's actually bolted in there properly now. It doesn't have anything else holding in, if you know what I mean, except for the trim on top. I've got a few of those longer brass screws I think are left. I have to have a decent look. And I think I might have enough short ones now to put in the hinge points for the windscreen frame. So I need to sort that out at some point. So we're getting there. I just cleaned up the back of this a bit nicer. So I just DA'd it with a part 180 and then hand sanded it with a bit of 220, then run over it with the DA pad and the 240 that I had to try and sort of just clean it up and smooth it up a little bit. And then I did it with 320 and 400, and then I just threw that rough 3000 pad on there and just gave it a bit of a clean up and shine up. It sort of, I wouldn't say polished it, but it kind of shined it up, if you know what I mean, without running over that. And I think that looks quite nice now. Put that back in there. Certainly, I'm just doing some other stuff to do with this as well at the moment, so I'll show that in a second. But that looks quite clean and tidy now. It doesn't look all scungy from the back. I could probably do that piece too, but I'm not sure yet. I may spray that board black yet. It's not in there permanently yet, so I might pull that off, and I may trim those screws down a little bit. Once we get everything screwed in there and worked it out, I may spray the back of that board black. But I just cleaned up that metal bracket there, which goes with the wood piece that clamps all this together. I've just sandblasted that and etched it, so you can see that etch is still a touch wet. So I've got that cleaned up, ready for a couple of coats of rattle can again. This here is basically dry, just slightly sticky to the touch. So I can probably throw that back on that pedal piece shortly. Have I got anything else achieved? I think that's all I've done in the meantime. I think I had that polished up the last time I was talking to you, like the piece on the floor. Yeah, because I was cleaning that up. And I managed to get that wire out of it, as you guys know. I think, yeah, I did the little video pulling that out. So I got that sorted. So yeah, we're getting quite, I wouldn't say finished in here, but we're getting together. At some point, where did I put that thing? Oh, that foot pedal thing for the cowl vent. I will, at some point today or tomorrow, I'll get the screws or bolts, little bolts, whatever it's meant to be in that, sorted out, and we'll slip that in place in the in here. Oh, a phone call. So I've got that bit in there now. I'm not 100% happy with the bolt screws, whatever you want to call them. I'm probably going to get something better. I'm struggling to find anything the right size here amongst the bits, because I think they're like quarter, something like that. I think. Yeah. Doesn't matter anyway, but yeah, I think they're a quarter. I think they're a quarter, or might be 5 mil, 6 mil, something like that. So I need to get some black ones. We'll probably get some black ones. So that's kind of where I've got to. I flicked a little bit of paint on that piece of wood too, just to blacken it up. I'll do the same with that bottom board when I pull that all out and put it all together. That's painted. So when we do the final assembly of these bits and pieces, I'll flick that piece black, at least into the firewall. I'm not too worried about underneath. If we get the car up on a hoist or something like that, we'll go down there with a couple of rattle cans and whatever, and we'll just spray the underwood black. At some point, we've got this ready to put back in, but I need to. I'm going to flick through a few photos and see if I can remember which orientation it's meant to be, and whether it's meant to be that way or that way. I can't remember. So that's kind of where I'm at. I haven't done a lot more than that, apart from just clean up bits and pieces like that. I'm just slowly getting further with this stuff. Yeah, that's about the size of it, because I can't really put this stuff in permanently, obviously, until we get the motor unboxing. Which, yeah, we are struggling with that clutch release bearing for this, which is a real pain. We might have to take this into town ourselves and just do some hunting, because they're having problems trying to find one. The one that they originally sent us was too small by quite a bit. Now I could Hold on, I'll turn this clutch over. Hold on. Righty, so the other option we've got is, as long as we can get a bearing, obviously, that will fit, and what is it? If you see it, 65 mil, or take an inch and a half. Yeah, well, inch and a half. Oh, sorry, two and a half. If it was somewhere in that ballpark between I'd say, if I said 50, yeah, it needs to be about, I'd say 65 mils, inch and a half, 2.5 inches, or slightly bigger. So if you said a 70 mil, if we could get one that was about 70 mils, we really want to get the other one back. Sit it back in there and have a bit of a workout. We may have to make a reducer piece up that we can slip in there first, and then maybe put just something that's a bit more modern in there. It's slightly smaller, but it's still going to touch this stuff. We're quite lucky because it's, as you can see, it's quite a bit further in than what this is out here. So its maximum width is, what, 75. 75 is 3 inches, roughly. So it's a bit bigger than 3 inches out here. So it's going to be running somewhere in about that 65 mils and 2.5 inches. So yeah, as long as we can get in that and we don't have to have too much of a built up space, we can probably make something up that sits in here if it has to push it up a little bit, and just a little bit to make it, to try and pick something up smaller if we have to, as long as it will run on those fingers nicely. Yeah, it's not as though it's a big contact patch. As long as we're running on them, it doesn't matter if we have to make up an adapter to fit something there. That's what we may have to do. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at there. Yeah, because we both went in there today, earlier on, and we're asking about that. Yeah, and they said they've got that bearing in town at one of the big bearing shops in there, and they're having problems finding it. So I think what we'll do is get the other one back, take that in with us, know roughly what this measurement is. May have to take the clutch with us too, and see if we can find something that'll do the job. And then make an adapter up to fit in this to get it the right height, if you know what I mean. Because that other one they bought us was quite a bit too skinny, and it was quite a bit narrower. And it probably would have been okay if we made an adapter, but I thought, maybe we might be able to get the right thing, but maybe we can't. So yeah, we might just get that other one back and make it work. Build a spacer and adapter. Anyway, righty guys, so welcome back to NZ and Marko Outlaw Kustoms. So I'm going to carry on piecing all the stuff together and getting all my little bits worked out. Lots of little funny pieces to sort. So I am going to finish fluffing around with this stuff. I've just got to work out. I can't put this in permanently yet because I haven't got the motor and box. Can't get the motor and box in there yet because I'm still waiting on parts. But I want to work out these felt gasket situation to seal around the column and to half-pie seal around the pedals, a reasonable amount. And obviously I'm still waiting on a ball to be sorted, if we can find a 2-inch or 50mm ball, or close to it. I need to put that back in there, and sort of button us up the best I can until obviously we can permanently fit stuff in there once we've got the motor and box mated and we can slide an So yeah, we've still got to solve that frickin' situation. So yeah, I'll carry on with this. Yeah, I might shoot round to Dad's, see if I can get some felt. So I think he's got a couple of different layers of felt there, thicknesses of felt. See if I can get something that I can make this shit out of and do a final test fit so we know that we can just put it together once we get motor and box in the hole. So yeah, I'll carry on and do that, and I'll come back to you a bit later on when I've got a bit further. Right, I haven't really got any further with this because I am going to go to Mum and Dad's for lunch today. So I thought I'd just do it then. So I've been mucking around with, not that I haven't got much to show you, but I've been trying to clean these up, which are for the hold the windscreen framing. So just amidst the polishing and cleaning these up. So they go in there. I don't have, well, not that I've found yet, a nut to go on the end of them. And the other thing I've been playing with is these, which are the door. Let's go on here. I found all these ages ago, but this is meant to have a little bit of rubber in here. All the rest do, but that one's fallen out. So I'm just trying to make a piece out of that I can just poke in there. It probably doesn't need to be in there, but I'll put it back on there. And then I will give these another quick sandblast and coat them with some etch, and trying to decide whether I'm going to paint them with just rattle can or whether I should probably paint them with 2-pack. Probably just a rattle can, probably just as easy, because if they do rub on here, they're going to scratch anyway. It doesn't matter what I use. So yeah, these here, and then they locate in there. So yeah, and down here, and hopefully just fitting down here. I test fitted the because I only had 2 of it originally, and I managed to grab some stuff off some old door skins and stuff upstairs. And so yeah, I'm pretty sure that they will fit in here still properly. I know they did originally, but yeah, I hope they still do, because I've never had them back on there, you see, since I've had it painted. So yeah, I'll get just trying to make that up so I can poke that in there and squeeze it in and just cut it off, and I'll give these a quick sandblast and etch them up and paint them. Just little things to do while I'm waiting to go to Mum and Dad's for lunch, and then I'll grab some felt, gasket felt. So yeah, and this year I'm just making it out of a bit of that rubber I use for the door stops. I'd like to find something for that too some point. I'm going to have a fucking huge clean up on Saturday. This place is just a friggin' mess. I need some decent toolboxes, and I need some way of having some better system of having this stuff sorted, because it's just a nightmare. I don't know. I just don't have enough clear spaces to put stuff properly. It's a pain in the ass, because you just end up in a freaking mess. It'd be nice to have just somewhere to put all the bits and pieces and bolts and crap properly, and somewhere to store all the bits properly, and I don't know, and somewhere I can just have crap laying out, and then somewhere to work. It's just never happens like that. You get all cleaned up, and then it's, a week later, it's a mess. But it's probably been 2 or 3 weeks since I cleaned up properly again. And yeah, because my toolboxes are so full, I don't tend to put shit back in there, because then you got to drag it back out again to do it. Whereas if they wasn't quite so cluttered, you probably put stuff back, because it's a bit easier to find. But anyway, story of my life. It's easy when you've got a good system to keep clean, but when you haven't got a good system, you end up in a fucking mess easy. But anyway, that's kind of what I'm doing at the moment, just a brief catch up. Righty, so my little rubber gaskets is a bit of a fail because we end up breaking this into pieces. I think my plan is now, this here is actually about as thick as that. That's felt. So I think I'm just going to make a whole thing out of this stuff. I just have to go back around to Dad's and get it, which I might do that tomorrow. Now I'll see what the time is, but see how we're getting on for time. I haven't checked the time, but yeah, I'll just make that whole shape, and I'll just put a small hole in it. That sort of size with a wee slit. Same with the hole for the size of the steering column. Just put a slit in it, and then that'll fit nicely down in here. It'll be a lot less complicated, and just drill some holes in it so these bits can. It's probably what was meant to be there. I was probably making it overcomplicated. Yeah, and then just drill the holes in it for this, so we can put the backing board and the bracket on there. I think that's just the way to do it. So yeah, that's that plan now. Things change. Because that was my gasket for here, you know. But yeah, it's too floppy, too thin, too much freaking screwing around. Just it could have worked, but trying to get it back in here too was freaking so fucking awkward. Yeah, it's just don't overcomplicate it. So keep it simple, stupid. Righty, so I'll carry on. I'm going to flick a little bit of paint in here because I didn't realise it was freaking so thin on that brake pedal, so I just took it off. And it was staring at me before, and I was like, ugh. So yeah, I'll flick a little bit of just rattle can on there, a little do. It's going to wear it off anyway with working up and down that gasket. What it might do, you know, it's not hard to give it a wee touch up at some other point if you really need to. But it's like most things, you know, it wears the paint off, and that is what it is. But till it does that, there's just a little bit of rattle can on there, will be right. I'll just miss that one side. But yeah, we'll make a gasket of that stuff. My Dad's got a whole big sheet of it that's bigger than that freaking piece of board, so that'll be a lot better. Also, I need to make one for in here too. I forgot about that. So yeah, I can cut that out at the same time too, which goes around the starter switch, and that goes on the floor, which is over here somewhere. On here somewhere, on here somewhere, on here somewhere, on here somewhere. Well, yeah, it was, is, could be. I know it was there. I know it was there at some point. I'm going to have to go through the horn shortly too. But yeah, one of those things when we get there, when we get a bit more junk in the engine bay. Alright, we'll carry on. Yeah, that thing there poked through that hole, so that needs a gasket around it too. Right, morning guys. So, I'm at the old man's workshop. I'm actually just here grabbing some felt, this stuff here, to make these gaskets. Dad's got a fairly good chunk of it here. He's had that for years, just for making gaskets and stuff for old cars. If you guys are newish to the channel, my dad, if you look up Bill Richardson's Transport World here in New Zealand, Dad was the curator and the restorer from about 99 onwards, and he retired there in, I don't know, 2014-ish, 13-ish, somewhere around about there, I can't remember exactly. So yeah, so he restored a massive trucks and stuff in there, but he also like restored that way back in the 70s. And then Dad and I did it again in the 90s. Did a lot of rewood and lots of stuff, repainted it. At the moment, it's had a broken motor for a number of years now. That's a Mark II Jag that Dad and I done a lot of work on. I'll flip the camera around. Hold on. So if you go back in the videos till 2020, when I first come back over here thinking I was going to the States in a few months, I gave Dad a hand to do a lot of the body work on this. It had a lot of rot in these corners. Dad got some repair panels from that have been made somewhere and they sent over to here. So we got a repair section and put it in here, and we also put the other half of it, which goes right round. We made it fit the other side. Did obviously some work in the inner structure as well. Did a whole heap of work over in that floor and in the sill rocker area and the brace and everything underneath. And we've done all the corners of the doors. We've done some work in here, some small repairs. Dad bought this years ago, back in the early 90s. It runs and dries, but we pulled it down because it was just getting rough and shabby, and Dad, at some point, the Yamaha, fell over it and put a dent in the fender. You know, something happened, like, I don't know whether he went to move it or something like that, and it kicked over or something and landed on the car. So yeah, like all those sorts of funny things have happened over the years. Yeah, and we went through and replaced all the corners of the doors and all those sorts of things. So all those videos are there. We haven't got back to finishing it yet. I've been hoping to try and get back here at a weekend or something like that, but I just haven't got it yet, to be honest, because I've been trying to get this other frickin' Studebaker finished. So yeah, we'll get back to this at some point. Oh yeah, we did a lot of metal work and body work and around the front here. It was rotten, really rotten down in the bottom. So yeah, I've done quite a bit of work to this thing, and hammered and dollied, and I started on obviously the primer work and the filler work and lots of stuff, but I haven't got much further than that. So yeah, and that's a 37 Nash. Dad used to have the coupe with the same, but it was a real basket case, like it was like a major ground up rebuild, whereas that one there is upholstery and get the motor going, and it would be run, you know, it would run and drive. It was a running, driving car, but somebody left the floorboards out of it like a long time ago, and the rats got up and ate all the upholstery out when it was in storage at some point, but before Dad bought it. And Dad's probably had it frickin' 30 or 40 years and just never got around to doing anything with it. And also, these old bikes here too. It's Triumph for rode on the world's fastest Indian. There's another 1911 Triumph there. Dad used to have quite a few bikes, but he sold a lot of them years ago when he was getting a bit older and couldn't ride them all. That's a Pook, which is a bit like a Vespa, I suppose. That's a sidecar for the Triumph. Yeah, there's more modern-ish bike that he rides occasionally. So he's got something a wee bit more modern if he wants to just go out for a ride with some of his mates. And over in that container there is all Dad's spares from his other shed that was 24 metres long and 9 metres deep. This is about 12 by 12-ish. So the other shed was twice as long, but only about 3 bays deep, or 3 sections deep, but it was twice as long as this. Yeah, but it was way out in the country property, about, I don't know, 10 miles, or a bit more that way. So yeah, so Dad had to shrink it when they moved into town. So yeah, it's old lathe and bits and pieces which you've probably seen in the odd video. So yeah, Dad's workshop shrunk a bit. And a lot of his tools that he used to have a long time ago, which he took from when he had a business, had an auto dismantling business in the middle of Invercargill for about close to 20 years, I guess. And a lot of tools and bits and pieces, and he collected from doing that. When he started doing the truck museum stuff, ended up there. And when he left, instead of taking a lot of the tools with him that he wished he kept, they bought a lot of stuff off him. So they gave him obviously a fairly good chunk of money for those tools, and he replaced some of them and bought new stuff. But that he needed, but like a welder and bits and pieces. But yeah, he said he wishes he still had a lot of that gear, but he doesn't have it anymore because it ended up in the museum being used by other people when he retired. So yeah, so he's a post of the world's fastest Indian. Yeah, so it's a 28 or 29 rugby. So that was, like, that's way back. So it was like February 77. So that's how long that car's been around in our family. A long time. So yeah, a long time. Mum and Dad there in 2005 in the old Triumph. So it was just after the movie was made. So yeah. And Dad's had that bike since 1984, I think. The Triumph. So, that's 2015. Yeah. So that's what he based the paint off. So it's a 1950 Thunderbird. Yeah, they've been around a bit. They went to Sturgis in 2014. So yeah, they get around a bit. Alright, catch you later on. See you back at work. And before I get back to work, the main reason I cut a hunk of this off because I need it for a few little bits and pieces. Hopefully I've got enough here to do what I want to do. I may have to come back and cut some small pieces off, but this should do most little bits and pieces I need to do in the meantime, I think. I'll better get this out, and I've got a gearbox seal to do, and 2 rear axle seals. I think are the only ones I've got to do, so I should, on that other one on the floor, so hopefully I'll get that one out of the floor and that piece, and then maybe gearbox and axle seals out of this section, hopefully. If I can wiggle this a little bit this way. Yeah, if I can get that right over that corner, yeah, I should be able to get them. If not, I'll just come back and get another piece. But I just thought I'd take a whole company, save me frickin' coming back and getting it all the time. I've got Dad's cutter for cutting circles, so that's cool. Alrighty, we'll see you at work. Righty, so what I've been doing here, I've been trying to cut this out, get it fitting. I was trying to work out what the sweep is and where roughly the hole needs to be for this to get a half reasonable seal around this pedal. It looks like it needs to be near the top there somewhere. So I've just been putting the bolts back in here, just sitting this back in here. It's not bolted in, but getting it sitting in there as best I can. Just so I can get an idea of where this sits. It's towards the top of this hole, because I want to try and get reasonably accurate. So, you know, so I'm not low or anything silly. So yeah, it's kind of what I'm doing at the moment. To get that in there, that's why I put that slit in there too, so we can slip that over. I'll do the same with this and the same with that. I probably might leave this one until we get done with the clutch in it. Righty, I've got it in there, but it's a bit of a battle. Just something with the columns, just it's not 100% in the nicest place, if you know what I mean. I don't know exactly quite what's going on. I don't know whether I can loosen that off or loosen these bolts off. Also, this here can move too, which would actually alter the position, but I can't really move that because that's the adjustment for the gearing, you know, for the mesh. So yeah, it's just a matter of doing the nuts and bolts up and just pulling it tight and getting it the best you can. But it seems to be, it's halfway fitting all right. It's a bitch of a freaking thing to get in there though. It's really bloody awkward the way they've designed this. It's just awkward. Especially with this bracket and the extra piece of wood that goes in there. I actually made the wood thinner because it was that thick. It's now only about half of it. I cut it down just to try and get it in there easier, because you can't get it in there together, you know, with the pedals and maybe, I don't know whether I could do it without the pedal in there and then slip the pedal through. That might be a little bit easier, but it's still not that easy, if you know what I mean. So you kind of got to feed it in there. You really need two people to put it in. It's a shit of a thing, really. But at the end of the day, I think once it's all in there and done, this is going to seal up reasonably well. Like, it's going to stop the worst of the drafts, I guess, whatever. I've actually got that one in there too, but I haven't cut the hole through for the starter button. I will do that at some point. Same with this one. When we're a bit more complete and I can test fit it a couple of times, and I might better just put, maybe when I sit the floor in, I might better just put a little bit of something on the top of that button when it's on the top of the gearbox. You know, I can just sit it down there and just see where it comes in contact, sort of type thing. I just put a little wee drop of grease in something, so I can sort of see where it's touching in the centre on the top of, like on this button. You know, that's the highest spot, so I could just put just a wee dot of grease in there, and when I push that down I can see where that's touching the centre, and that'll give me a better idea to cut the hole so it's central to whatever that piece is, if you know what I mean. I can sort of like force the floor down there and get an idea of where it's actually pushing up through and try and get a reasonable, because it will, I'm guessing it'll poke up, you know, probably 1/4 of an inch sort of type thing, maybe a little bit more. So yeah, I want it to be reasonably centered there. So I've popped that in there. Yeah, so we're kind of there. So I'm kind of done there in the meantime, I guess. Yeah, there's not really a lot more I can do there. Just trying to decide what I'm going to play with next in that ballpark. I'd like to get some shit cleaned up here. I've got shit everywhere. I just wonder if I should tie this bench up until lunchtime. Get some shit away, sort of just get some stuff collected up and get some stuff sorted so I can have a bit of bench space back again. I'm very tempted to play with the gauge cluster that, you know, bits and pieces. But that's going to be quite a major tube. It's fairly involved. What should I build over here? A big clean up over here and work on the gauges over here and then just leave the assembly stuff to here. Yeah, I might do it over here. It might be easy to clean up. We'll go have a look.